You know, we met at the Critics' Choice Awards in, I think it was 2015, and I have been just a huge fan of yours, even before that with Storage Wars. Did you always have a bug to be a producer, to create a television show, or was this just out of your normal life?
Yeah, really, it was Laura's. Everything's kind of Laura's idea. Everything is Laura's dream. When we first started dating, she says, "Man, I want to be, I want to be on TV." And she was the Veggie Life girl. And I don't think anybody ever saw that, but I happened to see it on TV. I'm the Veggie Life girl, and she was picking fruit off a tree or something. And I thought, I just remembered that. So when we started dating, I was doing a lot of fundraiser auctions and stuff. And a lot of our auctions had like walk-in roles on Early Edition and some of these different shows. So Laura was busy. We were busy donating money for walk-in parts. And Laura got us in on 2 or 3 different game shows. And she can get on any game show. Laura can go to a game show and they will pick her because, they like the energy and she knows when to give it and how to give it. So to answer your question, we were just really putting stuff up on YouTube to show our clients, hey, we're better than our competitors. And we were the only cats on YouTube. So in 2009, ABC and NBC and KTLA, they all got a hold of us, wanted to do an economy thrift story because, the economy was pretty screwed up in 2009. We're starting to look at that again, right? So anyway, we did that, and after that, we had we had a total of 26 production companies and a couple, 2 or 3 networks that wanted to do a show around this modern day treasure hunt aspect of what we did. And so we just started. We went in with another company that had a horrible idea how it should work, and they didn't really have the modern day treasure hunt thing in mind. They had something else in mind. So one day, Laura, we were in this contract for 4 or 5 months with this other company, and they were called like Go Go Lucky. I think that was the name of them. And Laura had a dream. She woke up and she's writing it in her book. She goes, "I had a dream last night." I said, "Really? Tell me about it," because she has great dreams. So she says, we're going to be approached by a company called A to Z Productions, and they're going to approach us on September 2nd. That's what she's saying. And they're going to have offices in New York, Miami, Memphis, and LA. And they're going to pitch us to the network that's going to pick us up on October 14th. Thank you, God, she wrote, and she underlined it. And I said, that'd be great, right? So September 2nd comes along, and I get an email, not from A to Z Productions, from North South Productions. And they want to do, they want to put us on a contract. And anyway, October 13th came along and they said, we're going to pitch you to the History Channel tomorrow. Well, of course you are. Of course you're going to do that because Mama dreamt that already. And so, that was, kind of the attitude with the thing. And so, there was a fellow with A&E named David McKillop, and he was part of History. A&E owns History. So, they didn't pick us up right away, but when he ended up going over to A&E, they ended up picking it up, and here we are 12 years later, and we just filmed show 325, and it's just been amazing.
Yeah, it has been quite a ride, and I think America just loves the idea of opening that vault and seeing what's in there, and it's such a wonderfully nuanced show that way.
Original Productions is our production company, and they are really great. This North South Productions, we talked to History Channel on the 14th, and then Laura has another dream, and she goes, I had a dream last night about North South Productions, and they put our tape in a cabinet and shut it. What do you think that means? Well, hell, I'm nobody, but that sounds weird to me. So, I say, you should call them, right? Well, she calls up North South Productions and talks to that guy that owns it. And I think what this guy thought he heard was, I'm the wife of another auctioneer with another auction show that you're doing in Ohio called the Auction Barn or something like that. And he came back and he told Laura, the network loved to pick up the auction house concept. and auction barn concept. And Laura says, well, what about storage? And, oh, well, they didn't get it yet. Well, then after that next comment, they said, oh, you're Laura Dotson, Dan Dotson's wife with the auction company with the storage. Oh, yeah, we can have 2 shows. Oh, and Laura's just steaming, right? And she goes, they have 2 shows. And then she gets back. She goes, what's the name of the other show? They don't even have a name for the other show. But they say they can do 2 shows. Okay, well, thanks, great. And she hangs up and she's just almost bawling. And I swear to God, Tony, she goes, God, please send us a Tom Beers. I have no idea who Tom Beers is. I don't know who Tom Beers is. I asked her, I said, who's Tom Beers? And she said, she goes, that's Deadliest Catch, Ice Road Truckers, Ice Road Truckers. And those are the shows that you watch. And I said, yeah, it'd be great to have a guy like that show up. 3 weeks later, I'm at an auction in LA. And this guy comes up to me, and we'd already had like 15 people come to me and tell me everything. And this guy comes up and he flips his, he says, hey, have you ever thought about doing a reality show? And, I looked at him and I just like cocky. I said, yeah, you're number 16, baby. What's your name? And I looked at him and he gave me his card. It was Tom Beers. And I said, no way. I said, my wife prayed to God you'd be here. And look, here you are. And, we've got a little time on this contract. If you're patient, we're just going to let it run out. And he said, I'm patient. So here we are. I mean, there's other stories between that time and, getting to where we are today. The Discovery Channel had actually offered us some stuff through one of their producers. And so we kind of use that information with Tom Beers to help negotiate for, a better deal for us.
You learned the auction business from your grandfather?
I did back in 1974, way back in the 70s. I was 11 years old and I had already spent 2 or 3 summers in Arkansas. And I finally just said, Grandpa, I want to be like you. And he taught me how to do it in 74. And I've never looked back. I mean, it's been the best gift anybody ever.
That's a lovely thing to be able to look back and say, my ancestors gave me this gift, and you've made it into something that they would never believe. Yeah, it'd be a shocker. My mom was an auctioneer too, My mom learned from her dad, my grandfather, and she wasn't a professional auctioneer, but she could do it. And I mean, when I was a kid, I used to come in, auctioneer for my buddy, Mom, and she would do it.
Millions of people are losing their dental coverage every year or can't afford dental care due to the high cost. Just a simple cleaning can cost over $100. But there is an answer, TDA. For about $1 a day, Total Dental Administrators covers over 200 dental procedures. Whether you're an individual, a family, self-employed, or retired, TDA has a plan that's right for you, starting about $1 a day. So call or click for your free information kit and see how affordable dental health can be.
It would be like herding cats, I would think, doing a show like this, because you've got different personalities. I know that you've had, words with a lot of the storage buyers and all that through the past. But how do you keep your sanity while you're doing the show?
I just barely care, Tony. I mean, I care, but just barely. And I think that's, that's part of the secret to my success. I mean, I really care, but it's just barely. And I look at it like, I let people vent and do whatever they're going to do. And at the end of the day, I'm going to sell something and they're going to pay the lady and I'm going to grab my commission and I'm going to go down to the next one. And so I just figure, I let them get away with whatever they can get away with until they, they try to destroy the competition of the auction, or, they threaten us physically or whatever. That hasn't happened.
That just gets weird, my favorite guy on your show, other than you and Laura, of course, is Barry. I love Barry, and I think
Barry's back.
Yeah, I know he's back, and he is just ridiculously funny.
Yeah, Barry's funny. He ought to be on your show. We ought to get him on the show.
We should.
Yes, we'll work on that. I'll work on that for you.
But he's not in the business of salvage or anything. He just loves collecting.
Yeah, and he likes going to the auction, and he likes the chemistry between the buyers, and it's kind of sport for Barry. He likes it. He's not a young guy. I mean,
No.
So the older he gets, the more crazier things he needs to grab a hold of to feel alive. Maybe, I don't know.
Were you involved with the audition process for the buyers?
Laura and I, we used to go out every day, and we would drive 250 miles. That's one of the pluses about Storage Wars is we've been together every day since 12 years ago. But before that, we were separated every day doing auctions ourselves. We would drive 250 miles each. And when we get back in the evening, we wanted to do the show. We wanted to do a show, and we knew that we had people around us that were great. So every day we would come in and match numbers, and we would grade people 1 through 10. If they were somebody that wanted to be on the show, but they just didn't have any personality, or they didn't know what they had nothing to bring to it, then I'd give them a 1 or somewhere down there. And if they were really good, like Daryl, he'd come in at a 10. Dave Hester would come in at a 10. Hannah Nabila, she would come in at a 10. The people that we thought would work out well for the show, we brought to the show. The only person that we didn't bring to the show would be Barry. Barry and Tom Beers were friends. And I think when Tom Beers saw Storage Wars and he knew he could put, him and his folks at Original Productions put his special, spin and magic on stuff, because they do.
Well, certainly Barry adds a little different flavor to the mix. It's, he's there for a different reason.
Yeah. And I think only Barry knows that reason. Barry's such a trip. I just really like Barry, and, he's a motorcycle rider too. And we've been on some motorcycle rides, and we went up and did a big Santa Barbara tour and rode those midget race cars in the dirt. And we just had a big time. 2 years ago, Barry got in a motorcycle wreck, and he really hurt himself, and he's back now. He's walking and talking, and his hips aren't, he don't move from the waist down like he used to, but he's doing pretty good.
And it shows that he loves what he does with your show too. I mean, you guys seem like you're friends, and even Daryl, who I think is the luckiest human being in the world, on many levels. He's just a sweetie pie when he's off camera. I've met him a couple of times.
Yeah, Daryl's a friend. Daryl and Laura, their birthdays both May 13th. I don't think they were born the same decade, but their birthdays on the same day. And Laura, I'm a fan of Daryl's, but Laura is a big fan of Daryl's. And when we were bringing in these numbers and everybody, she'd say, "I think Daryl would be great." And I said, "Daryl's so full of I don't know. I don't know." But I'm glad that she was so persistent with that. And
when they brought out Storage Wars Texas, were you upset with that? I mean, this is Storage Wars is your baby, and then for A&E to do that, was that a problem?
They were paying us pretty good, and Laura told him she sees stuff, right? And she goes, "I see five shows," and she listed everything, but she had Chicago in there. We never did anything Chicago. And so, it would have been nice to get a little love out of those shows. When they first started them, I thought, Laura and I, other auctioneers fly all over the United States. I could have these Storage Wars in every state. And, but they couldn't see how to produce that economically. And so they just didn't do it. And when they first started bringing all those shows, I kind of wanted some kind of a credit for the show, and so I had asked for like a creative, some kind of a consultant credit or something, and we almost got into a huge fight down there at Original Productions with one of the producers, because he took credit for all of our work, and he took credit for all these people. And shortly after that, he wasn't with the show anymore, but he did get credit, and I'm pretty sure he's still getting credit for that stuff. And we got paid good. Here we are 12 years later, we're still doing shows. The network acts like they like us, so as long as we're getting a little love, we'll keep doing it. And our businesses are
I do
doing
think
pretty
A&E
good.
loves you. You're one of the top rated shows on A&E, and in syndication, I mean, that's got to be a great feeling too, to be able to have your work constantly played somewhere.
Yeah. Who was it? Oh, Gilligan's Island. Don
Denver or Sherwood Schwartz.
Sherwin Schwartz.
Yeah, the creator.
What was that lady's name? Marianne.
Oh.
Marianne was the smartest one on that show. Once, she got into syndication where nobody else did. So, people are still watching Gilligan's Island, and she was very smart the way that she did it. She must have had very good representation, and somewhere somebody gave her hooked her up to where she could grow old and she could still benefit from her time on TV.
This portion of Screen Chatter is presented by VP Dental. Check out our great dental plans starting at just $16 per month. Did I read right that you produced a movie as well?
I helped a friend of mine produce that movie. He's a little producer guy, and it was mostly it was a guy that really helped us with Storage Wars in the beginning and did a lot of help with editing our stuff and putting it out there. And so when he came to me and he says, "Hey, I got this movie and I'd like to," came to Laura and I and said he'd like to have some help. We wrote him a check because I felt like I owed him, and we got to have a little bit involvement with his Fractured movie.
Have you become a family with the crew that does Storage Wars? I mean, they've been with you. Some of them have been with you since the beginning.
Yeah, some of the producers, they kind of turn over, but some of the camera guys have been there, some of them since the beginning. And it's really nice to see these guys and these gals that work with the show. And some of them that were just runners 10 or 11 years ago, they're running stuff now. So it's been really fun to watch original productions grow and the people around the show grow and in their job and everything. That's pretty satisfying. Probably the most satisfying thing about Storage Wars period was the fact that so many families get together and watch it. And we hear that all the time. I watched that with my dad growing up. I watched that with my son. Me and the wife watched that and we loved you guys. I mean, that is so wonderful for us. That's one of the best feelings.
Well, it's got to be, because you've left a legacy here, that will go on for a long, long time. And, but it's also like visiting family for a lot of viewers, because they know you, they think they know you and Laura, and they know the teams and all of that. It's a wonderfully engaging show in that way.
Yeah, they've done really good with that. And, it's not all about what's in the box, but it's a lot about what's in the box. And, these characters on the show, it's really a character-driven show. And most shows out there, you see they're kind of growing. And our show grows, with the families like Ivy, now he has his sons helping him. Renee, he has his daughter helping him. Daryl's got his granddaughter, Zoe, that's been doing stuff. And it's just really wonderful to see. They are family, and it is great to see them grow and up and out, and it's fun to see all the exposure that they're getting.
Do you? I remember watching one of the shows where you guys got together, sat around the table, and talked about the year that had just passed. Do you do that every year? Do you do a kind of a look back show?
We should do that. You should go down there, Original Productions, Tony, and throw your card in the hat, because I think that's an excellent idea. We went to the Aladdin Casino before they imploded it, and we had the show in there. We got to cut the lock off the door, and we went in, and that was fun. That was called a round table, and I think there was a couple of those, and they should do that every year and get together. A lot of the other networks, like Bravo and TLC, they really prop up their talent, and they really talk about stuff that's going on, and they make a lot of extra things for their talent to do, and I'd like to see more of that. But I guess everybody's just so focused on Storage Wars and getting that done, and feeding the population new Storage Wars. They just haven't taken time for.
Do people recognize you, like you're at a restaurant, and do they come up and say hi?
Yeah, every day. I mean, it doesn't matter where we go. I mean, if I go somewhere and no one's noticing me, they're either being very polite, which is cool, or there's no cable in that part of the country because, you can get in certain spots where never heard of it, but 9 out of 10 places they have heard of Storage Wars, and they know all about it. And, and they know, don't forget to pay the lady. Usually I'll say, yeah, you've heard Storage Wars, right? We're Storage Wars. I'm married to the lady that says, don't forget to pay the lady. Oh, I know that. I love you guys. I mean, that's what it is just about every time. It's great.
What's the number one question that fans ask you?
Was Dave really Yeah.
Let me answer that for you.
He really is. I was Dave's only friend for 30 years. But anyway, I mean, I don't hate Dave or anything. He still comes to the auctions. He's still out there buying stuff, and he has a little auction company. So he's always trying to jump on both sides of the fence, which is really hard. Auctioneers should sell stuff and not buy stuff. And if you're an auctioneer that likes to buy stuff and sell stuff, that's like a drug dealer doing his own stuff. I don't think you're supposed to do that.
Well, I do want to thank you for your time. I know how busy you guys are and all of that.
We're doing great, and life is good. Our son had been shot a couple of years ago, and it almost killed him. And grace of God, he got out of that, and he's doing better now, and he's all out of that, and just life is good.
This portion of Screen Chatter is presented by VP Dental. Check out our great dental plans starting at just $16 per month.